What does it take to create a vibrant, thriving life? First, the sad news is that Thoreau was right. Most people are leading quiet lives of desperation, lacking in meaning, fulfillment, and vitality. But we choose more. We choose to create extraordinary lives. And the Art of Vibrant Living show entertains you with inspiration, empowerment, and education to create your life into a masterpiece. It's time. Let's vibe up. Aloha, y'all. Daniel Aaron here. I am your host, and this is the Art of Vibrant Living show. We have a very cool and exciting show today. You are going to love it. You're going to love our guest. I'll tell you about him in a moment. First of all, though, what the heck is this show about? The Art of Vibrant Living. It is your potential, your birthright. It doesn't tend to happen accidentally, meaning you living your most vibrant, thriving life. It takes some intention, usually some education, and then some effort and some action. So my request, I implore you, you're going to learn some phenomenal things today. And yes, you're going to go, yeah, cool. And take at least one thing that you hear and say, I'm going to try that out. I'm going to put that into action in my life and do so as quickly as you could. And if you would like some help, if you've got feedback, please send me an email, daniel@danielaaron.com. I would love to connect with you, love to meet you, love to serve you in whatever way I can. Today's show is with a guest by the name of Ken Honda, who's an author and a speaker, wrote an amazing book called Happy Money. In fact, how I got here is because a friend recommended the book to me, and once I got into it, I devoured it. It was so beautiful. And I don't usually read a bio. I usually tell y'all about the guest that's coming up. This bio, though, is the coolest bio I've ever got. So I'm going to read it to you word for word. Is your money smiling? Our guest today is Ken Honda, author of Happy Money, the Japanese art of making peace with your money. Ken, how can we tell if our money is happy? Ken,
Hello,
welcome
Daniel.
to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here, and thank you for the invitation.
It's a pleasure. It's an honor. I'm glad to meet you. I'm glad to get this chance. I got so many questions for you, and you've got so much experience. But first, would you tell us, I have just a little advantage having read your book and met you a little bit, but for those that don't know you, how did you get here? How did you get to this place in your life?
That's a big question. I was born into a very unique family in Japan. My father was a very successful tax accountant. So he started teaching me about money since I was 5 or 6. And because of his education, I started my business when I was young, about 20 years old, which is pretty unique for a Japanese young person to do. Japanese people prefer working in big companies, right? So I became an entrepreneur, and I was successful enough to be able to retire at the age 29 when my wife and I found out that she was pregnant. So I had 4 years off of my life since 29 to 33. And then I got this inspiration 3 years into the semi-retirement. I got this inspiration to write, which is bizarre because I was doing consulting and accounting, and writing is not my forte. But I couldn't resist this temptation to write. So I started writing a few pages of book essays, and I started handing over to them. I stapled them every day. I got sore hands, and my friend suggested I should hire a printer. The order got mixed up. Instead of ordering 300, he said the minimum is 1,000. And I was just about to sign the contract for 1,000 booklets. He said 3,000 is cheaper. And I signed the contract. A few weeks later, 2 trucks came in front of my apartment, and then lots of boxes. And so I said, oh, okay, I'm going to get rid of these boxes. I told my wife, and she said, I'll give you 3 months, either box is out or you out. And then I went crazy just calling my friends. You said my writing is good. I'll give you 20 booklets, 30 booklets. And I just gave away 3,000 in a matter of few weeks. And I got so many orders for free, the request for free copies. I printed another 3,000, printed another 5,000. By the time I gave away about 100,000 copies, a publisher called me and they wanted me to write a book, and the rest is history. I published about 100 books and sold about 9 million copies for the past 2 decades.
That's amazing. Well, so and what can you say more? What was that impulse to write? I get that it was, it was unusual for you, but the calling was there. What was the impulse for you?
At the time, we used to spend hours in a park nearby. And one day I was with my daughter. She loved swinging, right? So I just pushed her for like 30 minutes, probably like up to 45 minutes. And then we had a little snack time, and it was like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. The sun is beautiful. And then this mom and daughter came in and just, they started using the swing for like 2 minutes. And then after about 4 or 5 pushes, the mom said, "We gotta go. Your mom has to work." And the girl was crying, "We just got here." And she was so right. They got there like 3 minutes before. And but she was pulled off of a swing and then literally dragged out of the park. She was crying heavily. And my daughter and I kind of stood there like, what's going on here? And I realized, I spent 3 years without working. And I realized that people need to work to bring money, to bring food on the table. And if she had enough money, if she knew how to use the money, how to make the money work for her, she probably enjoyed another few hours in a park. And then I thought, okay, I think people should know about money. People should know more about money so they don't have to work for the money. They can work the money for them. So I started writing a few pages about what you should know about money. And then that booklet became a book. And I thought I'd finish in one book. And the second book and the third book and the fourth book, they started to sell like millions of copies. And I became an author and speaker.
Wow, that's great. And what that brings 2 things to mind. One is I think that's pure entrepreneurialism in the sense that you saw a problem or you saw somebody suffering and you realized, hey, I could help, right?
Right.
And not just that woman. Hopefully she got a copy of it.
Right.
But other people, right? And so that brings me to a question, one that I seem to ask a lot on the show, right? Because as you know, the show is about how to live a vibrant life. And very often my guests are entrepreneurs and we often talk about business. So what's your sense of the relationship between entrepreneurship and vibrant living? Or, is there one? Or if there is, what do you see?
So, and I have trained hundreds of thousands of entrepreneurs for the past 30 years, including my past career. And what I found out is that you have to know the right size for you. I think everyone is born with the right money container size, the right business container size. If you want to grow it too fast, it's going to crack. If you want to be bigger than you are, it's going to crack. So you have to know the right size. If you are destined to run like a company with 100 people, you should go for it. But if your container is not that big, you should be satisfied with 3 employees and a certain amount of money. So you have to know when to grow. Otherwise, there's no end to growing your business. And also, there's no end about making money. Once you start making money over $100,000, you feel like now next $300,000, now next $1 million, now next $5 million. I need a private jet. I need this, I need that. And then the list will just keep going on. So you have to know how much is enough. Otherwise, being an entrepreneur requires a lot of time. So the motivation behind starting a business is you want to live your life, you want to enjoy life, but entrepreneurship could eat up most of your time and your soul too. So you have to be very careful. Otherwise, you lose your peace of mind, you lose the quality time with your family members or and with your friends. So you have to understand how business works, and then you have to be 80% satisfied. Otherwise, if you try to be, full, you need more food.
Okay, makes sense, right? And there is that Japanese principle of eating, right? Is the same. Eat until you're 80% full. Um,
Yes.
so that's fascinating. Then it begs to me, the automatic and obvious question: how do you know what's the right size container for you?
If you're feeling a lot of stress, you're doing too much.
Hmm.
If you feel like this is good, this is fun, I think that's about the right amount of food. When you feel like you want to throw up, that's like you ate too much, right? So if you feel like you suffocated, you feel like, can I pay the bills, or like I have to hire two more people, and if your life becomes too hectic, I think you're just doing above what you're capable of.
Hmm.
So please don't you lose your peace of mind over money or business. But unfortunately, a lot of entrepreneurs do. So you have to know what is enough. Otherwise, you keep running in the rat race.
Yeah, there's a saying that an entrepreneur is someone who will work 80 hours a week because they don't want to work 40 hours a week for someone else.
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
and it does seem from observation to me that a lot of the people who say I'm going to be an entrepreneur, actually, when I think of it, not many of them really say I'm going to be an entrepreneur. They more often say I'm going to do this, I'm going to start this thing. Even the concept or word of entrepreneur isn't there. Though I would say that probably the majority of the folks that I observe and a lot of the ones that I work with and serve myself generally start out anyway not very happy with it, feel disappointed, right? There's the title of Michael Gerber's book, the E Myth, right? It's the myth that if you start a business, then it's going to be lots of free time and tons of money. um,
Hmm.
so but I like what you said, because it does, what it implies that there is a right size container for everybody. And probably for most of us, we have to pendulum swing, like, okay, a little bit too big, a little bit too small, and then we find the medium for that. Do you have suggestions for folks further on how to find that right amount, or how have you helped people to find that right sizing?
So I think the key is networking.
Hmm.
If you have enough network of people who support you financially, emotionally, you're all set. Just think about if you have, say, 300 people supporting you, say like they send you $50 per month, and if you have 300 people, that'll be $15,000 monthly income right there. So you don't have to just start a big corporation, like Tesla or Microsoft. But if you just have, if you win the hearts of 300 people and provide them enough quality service, and then you and your family can make a living. So just come up with something that supports you and your family, and that will be the minimum. And then offer them enough good quality service so you can keep going. You may want to grow your business furthermore, but that would be the basics. And then if you think, okay, this is the minimum that I, to run my business, to support my family, and you can ask yourself, what's next? And then if you just want more, you can give more, and then you receive more. So otherwise, if you just try to say like, I will make $1 million a year, and then a lot of people are goal driven. And if you are goal driven like that, you will lose peace of mind.
Yeah, nice. Makes sense. You you said a couple things that really caught my attention there. in terms of advice, the way I heard it is this maybe is advice for young entrepreneurs. And one is win the hearts of and provide good service for,
Mhm.
right? And from my experience, oops, there was fireworks. That must be exciting. Something I
Nice.
said. The in my experience of reading your book and seeing you speak, you have a natural way of winning the hearts, so to speak. And do you have any further thoughts on what that means for people that might be an unfamiliar concept?
Yes, I think winning the hearts, I should be more specific, connecting the hearts.
Mhm.
Like if I would start a flower shop, I will just put my love into flowers that I sell or flowers that I grow. So a lot of people, my customers, would be like me who love flowers, right?
Mhm.
So in a sense, we are on the same wavelength. We are on the same feeling level. Like, today I was so happy to see you, Daniel, and I wear somewhat similar colors, right? So I feel like, okay, we are in the same wavelength, right? So if your customers and clients are like that, and then you love, say, a heart, you love beautiful flowers, you love aromatherapy, you love coaching, whatever the love that you share with your clients, you're like buddies, right? So for me, when I publish books, my first print would be like 20,000 copies or 30,000 copies. That means 30,000 people are on the same wavelength as I am. So people resonate with me. So whatever I thought is neat, my friends all around the world just resonate with me. So if we have that many people we are in the same level, we're connected, our hearts are connected, and then whatever I do gets supported by the people who feel like, okay, no, Ken's great. And I've been doing this for 20 years, right? So every day I'm connecting dots. I'm connecting hearts. I'm just open to myself. I'm opening up myself to the people that I can serve. And then some people love me, some people don't like me. That's the way it goes, right? Some people love my long hair. It's really against the rule in Japan. Like in my a man of my age, like long hair, hippie or rebel, right? I'm both actually, but
Mhm.
so some people like me, some people don't like me. It's okay. But as long as I'm connected with one person, two people, three, four, five, and then if I have enough people, I can make a living, and I'm very happy for that. So, when you think of marketing, you have to do social media, and you have to do this, that you have to dance in front of the camera or whatever. Just you don't have to perform. You need to be who you are, and then if enough people like you, and then you can be successful as an entrepreneur.
Well, that's perfect. Because as you were speaking in the first part of that, what occurred to me is, in a way, it sounds like you're just making it simple. You're saying just be yourself, right? And of course, yes, some people aren't going to vibe with you. Some people will. There's a lot of people in the world, and we don't need that many to vibe with us. I for many years I avoided reading, even though I knew it was a classic. I avoided reading How to Win Friends and Influence People. Like I had
Uh-huh.
some kind of judgment from when I was young, thinking, I don't know, that sounds like some kind of manipulation,
Yes, it
right?
sounds like that.
It sounds like that, but then when I eventually read it, I was like, "Oh, this is just really pure-hearted advice. It's
Uh-huh.
it's care about people, be yourself." And of course, the big lesson that everybody quotes from that is people like to do business with others that they know, like, and trust. And so the question that comes to me with all of that, was it natural for you to be yourself and just open yourself up, or is that something that you needed to work at?
I'm still working on it. When I started to do this in English, I was so afraid. I was so scared. Even though I had nothing to lose, but I didn't know if people would accept me as I am, because my way of thinking is very unique about money. I was like that in Japan too, but it must sound so bizarre. Is your money smiling? In the Western world. But I thought, okay, I mean, this is who I am, and if people like me, it's okay. If people don't, it's okay. So instead of just proving that I'm just great or I just know it all, I decided to be myself, and s- I cannot be different. So if people respect what I teach, that's great. And if people don't get it, it's kind of sad, but it's okay. I accept the fact. So I've been that way for the past 4 years. That's why I'm very happy because I'm here to share what I know, and it's up to you if you take advantage of it or if you ignore it. If you think this is nonsense, it's the same in Japan too. Some people loved it, and other people didn't like it. It's the truth,
Yeah, well, okay, so then I think we must step down that road a little bit, and I wonder for you, before I ask you the obvious question, I wonder for you, like I always think about the big bands in, that we know about, and they have their one or two or three songs that everybody knows and wants to hear over and over again, and do they get tired of playing it, or do they enjoy it? So the question that you must be asked like 8 zillion times is, Ken, what is happy money? What does that mean?
The funny thing is that I never get bored or that's, I find it so fascinating every time. So happy money is money that makes you smile when you receive it and when you spend it. And I really enjoy happy money in my life. Happy money, it comes in as a result of helping somebody. And they come back and say, appreciate you, Daniel. You did such a great job. Thank you. This is my happy money for you. So if people just come in and just give you the money, you feel happy. For example, whatever I do, I give a money guarantee system. So all the money in my account is filtered through. If people didn't like it, I'll return the money. So all the money in my bank account or all the things I have in my room, I bought with happy money. People appreciated me for doing what I do, and then pay the money. As a result, I pay the taxes, and then all my money is smiling. On the other hand, unfortunately, 95% of us are in the flow of unhappy money, which makes us feel small, irritated, frustrated when we receive it. And also when we spend it, when we pay bills, we feel, ooh, that's too much. Or when we pay taxes, like, I don't want to pay. So, bad energy gets attached to the money you receive and the money you spend. So the choice is yours. It's not how much money you make or how much money you have. It's about your attitude toward money. And if you change your relationship with money, your life will change dramatically. I have experienced myself, and then I have impacted millions of people this way. And it doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to take my courses or you don't have to even buy my book. The concept of appreciating your money coming in and going out changes your relationship with money, and it's a good start.
Well, that's powerful, and I can say for myself, I grew up in a lower middle class family in the U.S.,
Hmm.
and my mother and father, they were like, cats and dogs, upset with each other all the time, and it was mostly about money, or at least on the surface. And without even knowing there was another way of looking at the world, I grew up with this real, poverty scarcity mentality.
Hmm.
And then in my early 20s, I discovered something called the Abundance Book, and it was a 40-day spiritual prosperity program. And fascinatingly, when I started, I didn't even want to do it. It was required for a program I was taking.
Mm.
Didn't want, for some reason, I resisted it. My ego, no doubt. However, when I went into it, it changed my perspective on money, on abundance, and it radically shifted my life. I'm so grateful for it. So what else can you say? I'd love if you could offer more. I'm sure you've got so much experience in this, for people that are hearing what we're talking about and they're like, oh yeah, I'm not so happy with money, or I have fear around it or tightness around it. what are some more things, they can think about or do to get a happier relationship?
Mhm. Thank you for asking. So, money can pull out the best and the worst from us.
Mm.
We can feel joy, love, and friendship and generosity through money, but at the same time, we feel resentment, anger, hatred, and despair, frustration, all kind of thing, but negative things around money as well. So you have to really pay attention what brings out from you. So
Mm.
if it's mostly negative stuff, your association with money is negative. It's nothing wrong. It's how we are brought up. So we have to kind of like start looking at what's on the plate. Okay, why do I think money is so bad? Why is it? What happened to me? And after just researching your money history, it's usually involving your family members. Could be your parents, could be your brothers, or your siblings, and could be your relatives, your neighbors, and you could realize that, wow, I've been brainwashed by these guys. They're soaked to this poverty consciousness. That's why I was frustrated with money. And then you can get out of the trance of like, I had to work so hard to get it. I have to work hard to bring food on the table. So once you're out of the trance, you realize that money circulates in a very beautiful way. Once you start noticing how money circulates, you can join in the flow by opening up yourself to it, and by helping other people, by doing what you're good at, what you love, you vibrate. And then whatever you do, the quality, it depends on the quality and the quantity of your service. If you help more people in a good way, the money will come back. If you're frustrated and if you stay angry and if you don't do much for a job, you don't get paid well. So you have to start giving more, appreciating more. And as a result, you start getting paid more. And once you know, okay, this is how it works, you want to do more, you want to give more. The more you give, more you receive.
That's beautiful. I love that. And I feel like for me personally, my I could summarize my life in some way as going from my early learning and conditioning from my family and American culture being, it's about me. What can I get? How can I hold on? How can I make myself bigger in some way? And, little by little, steadily learning, it's not about me. It's about how much I can give. It's about how much I can serve. And I feel like every time I take a step, I learn something about that. My life opens up, it gets bigger, and there's always more. There's always another level to go with that.
Yes, exactly.
So, well, okay, there's so many directions we could go. All of what you're saying is powerful. You spoke about giving away, right? And I heard generosity, I heard service. Earlier, you mentioned a staggering number of books that you have given away. Could you tell our audience some about that part of your journey?
Yes, 22 years ago, I had a lot of time. So I had so much time reading books. And one of the books said, what you give, you receive. You hear it all the time, right? Like, but I thought, really? So I wanted to test it myself. So the thing I came up is that I wanted to share what I knew. So I just printed my booklets, as I said, and I started giving away. And the more I give, I should receive. But it cost me so much to print, and I just covered up postage as well. So I got a lot of uh, requests for more booklets. But after becoming an author, the more booklets I give, the more books I sold. So for book royalties, I ended up giving away 2.3 million physical booklets, which cost me about $3 million US for a gift. It's a lot, right? But after 20 years, what happened is that I sold 9 million copies on my physical books or like digital downloads as well on Amazon. So I gained about 13 US million dollars for book royalties. So after 20 years, I gave away 3 million and I received 13 million. So it's like $10 million plus. And I've done other things as well. So my money correspondent courses, online courses, and all the other things, I got so much money back. So the more I gave, literally, it's not what I gave, what I will receive. It comes back 10 times more. So that's why I encourage everybody to try testing out your giving experiment, right? So you can start with a quarter, $1, $10, and see how it goes. It's so exciting and scary at the same time. So, if you just start giving more than $100, it's like a roller coaster ride. Like, you have to trust, would this work or not? But I've challenged hundreds of thousands of people all over the world, and I'm just hearing incredible results. The funny thing is, the more you give, people notice you. You're willing to go extra mile. That's why people pay you extra dollars for your service and who you are. So the more you give your heart and more passion, more service, more love, and more generosity you put into your work, people will notice it. So, I write my books with all my heart in it. Every letter I type, I pour my love into it. I just pray while I write, so my readers can feel the love that I put into my prayer that I wrote between the lines. So that's why people responded, by recommending my books to other people. So I think people can feel my prayer between the lines. So people can feel your coaching sessions full of love. And that's why they want to come back to you. That's why they want to refer their friends to you. So your love really pays the best interest.
That's beautiful. And it's amazing that you took the experiment on, and I can imagine it being a bit scary, especially in the beginning, and that you stayed with it, and that you showed the ROI on it. That's fantastic. So it brings to mind, there's a book a few years ago called, I think the title is Give and Take by Adam Grant. You're familiar with it?
Yes.
Right.
I spoke with the author too. Yes.
Yeah, he's a great author. I mean, I love so much of what he's put forward, and the premise of the book, for anybody in our audience who doesn't know it, is like basically ask the question: who does better in life, the people that are the takers or the people that are the givers? And we tend to, I don't know, I think as a culture, at least the US culture, we tend to have this idea that the sharks in the market, the ones that are aggressive and pushy and out there for themselves, that they're the ones that do the best. And part of what Adam Grant reveals through a lot of research is, well, the givers actually end up doing better, but not all of them, right? There are some givers who don't, I don't know, maybe they don't value themselves, or they give away too much, or they have trouble receiving. So part of what I hear you saying, Ken, is there's just so much power and beauty in giving. Are there any caveats to that, or any ways that can go wrong?
Thank you. So, I'm not a naive giver. One of the national bestsellers I wrote is Do What You Love and Make Sure Money Follows You. And a lot of people do the fast part and do what they love, but they forget about the money part. They just run with it, and then they forget the money is not following you. So you have to give, but you have to be willing to receive as well. I teach money emotional intelligence. According to money EQ principles, the first lesson of money EQ is to receive. So you have to receive well in order to give. So unless you receive, you cannot give. So you have to find yourself in the cycle of receiving, enjoying, and trusting, and giving. So you cannot just give, and die. You have to be willing to receive and give. So if you can create the cycle of receiving and giving, you're in heaven. because you can really enjoy it. One time I was I used to live in the northern part of Japan, where a lot of apples. We have a lot of apple orchards in the area, like New England, right? So one time in the autumn, my daughter's kindergarten was a part apple orchard farms. So I wanted to help them financially. So I bought 100 boxes of apples, and then I sent them to my friends. And the funny thing is, a few days or sometimes a week later, I got a lot of boxes back with tangerines. You know, in our math, when in grade school, like 3 apples, 4 tangerines. How to exchange it. That kind of equations in there in the minds. So our house is well known because we do a lot of sending and receiving boxes. The FedEx guy knew who I was. So this guy was saying, Ken, you got a lot of delivery for tangerines. But tangerines, they go bad in 4 or 5 days. So okay, I cannot eat them all. You take 1 box, and then I got like 10 or 15 boxes of tangerines. So I decided to send those to my other friends who are not the first 100 apple guys, right? Look what I got after a week. I got a lot of apples back from these tangerine people that I sent to. So this FedEx guy was laughing, sir, you got a lot of apples back. What are you gonna do? So I just did this again, and then the cycle of giving and receiving never ended. It was so funny. And so that's what it's gonna happen to you. The more you give, more you receive, more you give, more you receive. I think it's what I call it's a gift war, and you cannot win.
That's awesome. It's a very fruitful experiment you had there.
Yes, exactly.
So the title of that book, Do What You Love and Make Sure the Money Follows You. Did I get that right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Which sounds like, I don't know if, go ahead.
It's in Japanese though. Sorry.
Okay. Well, it sounds like, I don't know if you meant it this way, but it sounds like a little bit of a play on the Joseph Campbell thing, right? Which is, which people debate a lot. Joseph Campbell said something like, do what you love and the money will follow, right? Something like that. And a lot of people say, nah. Huh?
Sometimes, not all the time.
So yeah. Well, can you say more about that? What do you have to do? What do people have to do? Those people that, are running ahead of the money or not letting it catch up to them.
Yeah. So, it's a common sense. If you want to sing, for example, if you're not as good as Taylor Swift, who'd want to attend your concert, right? And if your cooking is not good, who'd pay for it? So your cooking, singing, writing has to be at certain level, at least a professional level. So you have to be at least professionally good. Otherwise, people will not pay their precious money. That's number one. And then number two is you have to combine a few gifts. Just if you could be singing, but also if you could be a life coach, you could maybe sing a song to support people's lives. So you may not be as great singer as you are, but because of the message, you could be popular. So I'm a healer, and I'm a writer, and I'm a speaker. So my seminar often I deal with money, pain in the past, and also I come from the western part of Japan where a lot of comedians are. So I make a lot of jokes. So my seminar is very funny. Usually I make funny, sometimes very twisted, jokes on money. Because whatever we deal with money, it's half very humorous, because we are so serious about that, right? So I combine my gifts of a comedian, healer, and philosopher. That's why people come to my seminar. It's entertainment, and at the same time, people start thinking about their life deeply. So you have to combine 3 or 4 gifts that you have, and then come up with your own brand or own blend, I should say. So people will be really appreciating who you are. So I think Daniel you are the very same unique kind. You are the combination of philosopher and also you're a communicator, you're a healer, you're a teacher, you're a supporter, you're a very generous person. So the combination of those create a very attractive personality. That's why people listen in, whoever the guest is. People love to listen to you, Daniel. So that's what's happening. So if you can be focused on more of what you do and just run with it, people will just love you enough. So they will start paying you.
That's beautiful, and thank you for the kind words. I recall when I went off to university, and in my family, my parents said you could do anything you want as long as you're a doctor or a lawyer, right? And so I was going to be a lawyer, but then partially partway through school, I realized like, yeah, my heart's not in it, and I studied philosophy. And of course, every adult in the universe said, "What are you going to do with that? How are you going to get a job with that?" And I said, "I don't know," but somehow I knew, and I'm just lucky to have trusted enough that doing what I felt compelled to do, where my heart was, would pay off in some way. That was the thing to do. And a lot of my life, I studied yoga, and I learned about the Hindu concept of dharma, right?
Mhm.
Which is what's your unique purpose. And only maybe 4 or 5 years ago did I learn the concept of ikigai,
Mhm.
which I'm imagining that you know something about. And it seems like it relates a lot to what you're speaking about. Is there more you could say about that concept for people that might not know it?
Yeah, so I'm actually writing a short book on ikigai and happy money because ikigai can bring happy money into your life. So ikigai is a concept that very close to dharma. So it doesn't have to be an occupation. It's about why you're born here. So it could be as small as sweeping the streets in front of your house, and so kids can just be safe and clean. So it's just a little tiny thing that you feel so motivated and inspired to. So if you find what you're good at, what you feel driven to, you are already in heaven. So find your ikigai, and then if you, and this is from my part. So after finding ikigai, set up a system so you can receive some kind of financial reward as well. Like I have one of the largest online salons in Japan. I have thousands of people on membership. So people become a member by paying $8.88. And we have a online community, right? And it's not a lot, but I don't do so much. It's just about a community of sense of sharing and just nice stories. And there are many, off meetings and online meetings and whatnot. So I've been supported by thousands of people in terms of that online salon. And also, I've been supported by many readers who just keep buying my books. So I'm sort of running my company as a NPO or nonprofit organization, so I can help young people learn more about money, and people who have less fortune about their financial education. I help them learn more about money. So I've been supported by thousands of people monthly. That's why I can just be free of do a lot of free of service. 80% or 90% of what I do it for free. And the last 10% pay me very well, so I'm okay financially. So the more I share, the more I receive. In terms of right now, it's more about emotional reward for me. So like doing this interview is also my act of love, act of ikigai. Because people, once they really get this idea of transforming their relationship with money, you have a definitely more peace of mind, more excitement, and less worries around money and the future. So if you're more excited about a future and less worries about your financial plan, then you can be more nice to your kids. You can be nicer to your husband and wife. It's just a waste that we fight over money, and we do a lot. It's so unfortunate. Money is just energy. Don't. It's not worth fighting for.
Yeah, thank you. That's beautiful. One of my heroes is Martin Luther King Jr., right? And of course, he's really well known for his work for the civil rights movement and helping to create rights for black-skinned Americans or African Americans in the '60s. But what a lot of people don't know about him is in the last years of his life, he turned his attention in part to eradicating poverty, right?
Mhm.
And part of what he was focused on was saying poverty is a big part of what's causing this, all these racial problems, all this dislike. And so if we can get deeper to the root of it, and some people criticized him and said, you shouldn't be focusing on that. But I always really appreciated that. And it feels like that's a lot of what you are doing is really getting to a deeper root of a lot of the problems in our world.
Hmm. Yes, I so agree. And it's not just about the poverty, but it's more about a scarcity mentality. Once we are just plagued with this idea that I need more, I need to get from somebody else. No, it's not. It's the money is like air. You can breathe in as much as you want and breathe out as much as you want, and nobody complains. But if you live in a scarcity mentality, money becomes like ice or water, and that requires management. If there's too much water in your life, it becomes flood. A lot of rich kids, experience this. Your family can get washed away because it's too much money. And once again, if there's not enough money, it becomes drought. That's not fun either because you dry out. So not too much, not too little. The middle is very important. But once you focus on what you really love doing, and then you receive enough, money becomes air. So I'm dreaming that in the future, 10, 20 years from now, people think of money as just air. It's there, but you don't pay much attention. And especially you don't worry about air, right? Like, do I have enough air today? At the end of month, like, do I have enough air to breathe? You can breathe in as much as you want. So when you worry about money next time, breathe in as much air as you want and breathe out. Do that for 3 minutes, and then check how you feel. You would feel very differently.
That's beautiful. I love that. One of the things that I've done off and on through my career is led people with a kind of a healing modality called with a
Mhm.
breath work kind of modality. And one of the jokes I always make with that is, hey, the great thing about this therapy, it's breath. And so far, there's nobody charging for it, and the governments are not regulating it. You can breathe as much as you want. So I love that connection to money with it. Um, so something you said there sparked a question for me that I've wondered about for many years. I've never spoken about. There's a line in the movie Jesus Christ Superstar, right?
Mhm.
And there's a line in there that says something like, and I forget who's speaking, but somebody speaking to Jesus, saying, there are always the poor, there will always be the poor and struggling, right? And it's kind of like the counsel there is, don't worry too much about them. You're not going to be able to save everybody. There's always going to be somebody that's poor and struggling. What do you think about that? Is that the way it has to go, or is there a possibility that everybody, can move out of poverty consciousness and we can really have a greater abundance in the world?
Like when we are looking at the modern world, I think if people come from 200 years ago, they'll be shocked because even the poorest person can be so fat, they have enough food. So in that sense, I think we are free from poverty. It's
Yeah.
just about the comparison, you
Mm.
know. He gets the newest iPhones, I don't, stuff like that. So, but we have all like smartphones. So in that sense, I think we'll be free from poverty, we'll be free from survival. But that doesn't mean that we would not feel poor, because if people have more, and then if you feel like you have less, and if you compare and if you think you're bad, that's poverty. So I think the poverty would be like not comparing anything with other people. Like it's almost like the length of your hair. I have a longer hair, that's why I'm great. Some people have less hair, so you're not good, And if you have less hair, you may be King Daniel. So I'd be jealous of you, right? So like, who is better, longer hair or no hair, right? So if I think if we compare with each other, like which is better, right? He has only he only has long hair. He has no hair. Both are beautiful. If we come up with like that, like with money, I think we'll have no poverty because we have nothing to compare, which is better, which is worse. So I think it's going to take some time for us, because we love to compare. We love to compare. We are good, we are bad, we are less fortunate, we are more or less. So unless we just free from that comparison, we'll be stuck in this hell. It's nothing to do with money. It's about who we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and we all know it. Somebody can have seemingly very little, or somebody can have a ton, and either way feel poor, or in the flip side, have very little, have a ton, and feel completely abundant, right? So much about our perception and attitude for it. So, Ken, you mentioned earlier about a new book, and maybe there's more than one new book. What's coming up for you? What are you excited about?
Thank you. So my second English book will finally come out. I have tons. I have already translated 3 or 4 into English. The second one will come out from a big publisher. It's called Hay House. The title is True Wealth. It's a novel about the grandfather leaving no money to his grandson. He's super wealthy, but he set up this foundation. He donates all the money to charity. So one day, this 20-year-old boy receives a package from his grandfather's lawyer. And in that package, there's a letter. Hey, grandson, sorry, but the bad news is I'm not going to leave you any money for you. But the good news is I'm going to leave you 9 letters. Go enjoy the world. Good luck. And then this boy opens up a package. Each letter has a title. The first one is synchronicity. The second one's decision. The third one is action. So he opens one letter after another. He gets guided by synchronicity, and a new thing happens. And then he learns about life, his father, his grandfather, and the important lessons in life. So there are 9 lessons from a grandfather. So it's a fiction, and I hope Netflix is making it a movie out of this. So I sold a lot of copies in Japan, and it's finally in English, and it'll be out in many different languages.
Wow, that's exciting. As you speak of it, I think of um, Pablo Coelho and El Camino. What's the
Yeah.
English title? And I think of The Greatest Salesman in the World and The
Right.
Scroll. Right?
Yes. So Alchemist is the inspiration that I got. So this is like the modern alchemist in action. So a lot of young Japanese people just carry this book and just go out in the world and just search for the synchronicity and the meaning of ikigai. So I hope English speakers would enjoy it. And if you are into self-development, and also if you're interested in learning about who you are, this book will be a must-read for young people. That's what I hope.
Well, that's beautiful, and we know it's so much easier for all of us to learn from story, right? And the way you're describing it, it sounds like a fable, in the sense that it's a story yet has some deep lessons and truth in it.
Yes, yes. So in English, I'm regarded as a happy money guy, but I'm a novelist. So I have many other great stories to be translated. So this will be the second, and the third and the fourth will be coming soon.
Oh, that's exciting. Good for I don't speak Japanese yet, so I'm excited for that.
Yes, we're working hard on it.
So, Ken, I am sure that many people will want to get in touch with you, learn from you, connect with you. What's the best way for people to tune into the world of Ken Honda?
Thank you. So you can Google me and Ken Honda, and you'll see a lot of videos on YouTube. And also you can check all the information at kenhonda.com, kenhonda.com. You'll find all the free information. We didn't touch today, but you can figure out your money personality type. You can be a spender, gambler, and money maker, and money warrior, and all that. So you'll find a lot of information there for free.
That's beautiful. Well, living what you're teaching, you're giving a lot away, and I love the mission that you have to empower people. It's beautiful. Okay. Well, that may bring us around to the final question, the big question. Would it be okay if I ask you the big final question?
Yes, please.
Now, it's impossible because you've got so much experience, so much knowledge. I'm asking you to condense it all. So there's no way you can do it, but that means you also can't get it wrong. So the question is this: given all your knowledge and experience, if you were to advise someone, help them how to create a vibrant, thriving life, what do you say?
That's a very, very good question. I would say enjoy life, both positive and negative, because positive things can be turned into negative stuff. Negative stuff can be turned into positive stuff. So if you have the mastery of enjoying both, you're in heaven. So enjoy life, either positive or negative, because at the near the end of your life, you will remember like all the tough spots. You kind of remember, oh, that was so bad, and all the good stuff, you kind of cherish it. So if you can enjoy both, you don't have to worry about for the rest of your life.
That's beautiful. I love it. Well, fantastic, Ken. I'm so grateful that you've taken this time to be with us, and not only this time for us to speak here and to share with people, but the journey that you've been on that's taken a lot of courage. You've had so much growth, so much generosity, so much work in becoming who you are that's so valuable to the world. Let's thank you for all of that.
Thank you so much, Daniel, and thank you for sharing some time with us. And I really appreciate the viewers and listeners of this program. And please support Daniel. He's such a beautiful soul. So thank you, Daniel, for being who you are.
Very kind. Thank you. And I echo Ken's words to y'all in the audience. Thank you, because it's because of you that we get to do this. And it's because of you being interested in creating your life into greater vibrancy. It's so worthwhile. Not only do you deserve it, not only is it your birthright, you doing that actually does literally make the world a brighter, better place. So thank you. And again, please, so much that Ken offered today. Take at least one of those gold nuggets and say, yeah, I'm going to try that out. I'm going to put that into place in my life. Y'all, thank you so much for joining us. Please tune in again soon. And in the meantime, make your life a masterpiece. Aloha. Mahalo for tuning in to the Art of Vibrant Living show, y'all. I'm Daniel Aaron, and may you live with great vibrancy.